Robertson. I'm the 4-H coordinator in Jefferson County, Washington, and I'm speaking to John Newkirk, who is the director of the WSU Puyallup Research and Extension Center. John, you're giving us a tour, and tell us a little bit about when this facility was created and give us some history.
WSU Puyallup has been here since 1894. And actually, when the Washington State Legislature in 1889 accepted the land grant to establish the Washington State College, the legislature said you will also put an experiment facility on the west side of the state. And 4 years later, we opened and have been in business more or less ever since. So actually, the Washington State University that we're a part of, the main campus is only 4 years older than we are, and we're proud of that fact. Greenhouses were built about 9 years ago, and so they represent almost the latest technology in greenhouses. And we're in a section here that is between two different sets of greenhouses, and this is built here specifically to moderate temperatures before it's either cooled or heated and taken into the greenhouses themselves. Some of the kind of work that's done here is raspberry breeding, strawberry breeding, looking to develop tastier, hardier, more disease-resistant varieties. In a unit right down here, they just finished a research project that was looking at using recycled biosolids from both the city of Tacoma and King County's wastewater treatment facilities. And this particular research project, and actually here's a remnant, it's left over. Normally in a person that's propagating these to sell, they'll use a perlite mixture which has got a lot of peat moss in it, and that's harvested out of old wetlands. And so there are some reasons to try to limit the use of that, and this program looked at using the biosolids that come from the wastewater treatment plants and mixing them with some chips, wood chips and other things as a substitute. And it worked really well. Actually, the mix that came from the Tacoma wastewater treatment plant worked better than the growing mix that you buy, the perlite. The other piece of this was to look at conserving water. And we don't take let me step back. The researchers like to keep their units here free of folks walking in, even me, to keep diseases and things out of them. But part of that program was there was a special rubber mat that they set these containers on, and they let water run down through the mat, and all of the watering of the plant was sucked up through the bottom into it, as opposed to the way almost all of the rest of them are watered or sprayed or dripped. And the plants did just fine, and they used quite a bit less water. So they found that they can not only can use the recycled materials as a growing medium, but they can do it and use less water at the same time. And they raised chrysanthemums, and these were a few that were just left over. There were several hundred came out of here. So that's just typical of some of the kinds of things that get done in this greenhouse. What you see here in a number of our buildings is very early on this was established as a poultry research facility, but it's been almost 20 years since there's been any poultry research done. But we use all the old poultry buildings for storage and lots of other things. We're real good at recycling. The fact is, we also used to have a dairy here, which we no longer have. And the next facility we're going to go look at is a brand new biocontainment chamber that is going to be used to research a disease called sudden oak death, that the only way we can use it in research is if we can guarantee that we have it contained in a container so that it won't get out. This is part of a post-harvest quality piece of research, and it's to see how long the needles stay on the trees. And actually, through selection of certain kinds of varieties, they found some varieties that the needles will stay on several months after the tree's been harvested, which of course makes it much better for the consumer and safer and less fire hazard and a whole number of things. This is a brand new biocontainment facility, and actually we're looking at it over here. It's built in. This has an outer chamber and an inner chamber. All of the air that goes in and out of there is filtered with what are called HEPA filters, very fine, so that these very small, minute organisms can't get out that are in there that they're going to research with. It's a plant disease organism. Now, we won't do any of this kind of research here, but this is also the kind of a facility that they would do research on some of the bioterror organisms. Might be done in a facility like this, but we're only going to be looking at plant diseases here. And for sudden oak death, which has the chance of creating millions of dollars of damage for our forest products and nursery industry. So this will open in 6 weeks. So you're one of the first outside visitors to get a chance to get a look at it. And we have, except for the chamber itself, which was built someplace, shipped here in pieces, and then put together and sealed up, our own staff did all the rest of this work. It's been through an inspection. The federal government has to inspect it to give us the approval to work on these organisms here. And it's our newest laboratory setup here.
How long did it take to construct this?
Oh, about 4 months. It took longer to get the biocontainment chamber from the company than it took us to put it together. Actually, it was probably only about a month's work.
And is it a United States company that created this chamber?
Yeah, and Percival, and I'm not sure where they're from for sure. There's another one like it down in Oregon, at Oregon State University. They have, I believe, a facility like this as well. This is a wastewater treatment training facility, and it's part of a public-private partnership. The industries who build the equipment and do the installations and do the servicing through their professional organization run training programs here. And they've built this. This is all of the different kind of approved, basically home-sized wastewater treatment facilities, septic systems as they were called in the past. There's about 40 different classes a year will come here and use this as part of the training. And the white building down here with the multicolored panels, I call that our silent research partner. That's a partnership between the College of Engineering over on the Pullman campus, the Washington State University Extension Energy Office, which is in Olympia, and a number of private corporations. And they're not only testing wood materials for their durability, but they're also testing them for their energy efficiency. And the back sides of those panels are covered with very expensive, sensitive, computerized sensing equipment, feeds into our network. And so the researchers, they can sit in Pullman or Olympia or wherever and read the information and do their calculations and analysis without ever having to be here once they've gotten it set up. So,
is that coming to them through the web?
Yeah, through the internet. They're the university folks that are working on it would be on the university's intranet. So, and I don't know if they're publishing any of their data on the web for the public to look at.
And these different septic systems here, are there improvements over what we might have seen back in years in my childhood?
Oh yeah, very much so. And in fact, some of the systems are built just whereas you used to run a pipe with holes out of a septic tank, and I'm not an expert on this at all, but now the pump sprays it into these semicircular things, distributes the liquid more, and it works a lot better, protects the water quality much better, and in general handles the effluent in a much more environmentally safe way.
Thank you.
Now, we can see over here areas where our environmental horticulturalist has research plots. Her work here primarily is looking at urban landscape materials and urban trees that use less water or hardier, would use less pesticides. Urban trees are actually what most people don't know, that on the average life of an urban tree is 8 years, especially the street trees that are planted. Yeah, and so it's pretty costly to keep trees. So that's part of this work, is to find good, nice-looking, beautiful, healthy replacements that'll last much longer. And over here is our Master Gardener demonstration garden, and that's actually a partnership with the Pierce County WSU Extension program. They have a demonstration garden, and they do plant propagation, some things there during the year. If we can turn and look over this way, we see ground that doesn't look as green, but in a couple months that'll be full of bulbs, irises and tulips and different kinds of things. One of our researchers is working on developing disease-resistant bulbs and how to control various kinds of diseases in bulbs. Of course, up in the Skagit area, bulb business is big business, and plus it's important for homeowners to have bulbs that will last. And the darker green area here where we see all these flags is part of our organic research program. We have 6 acres of certified organic ground and have a very intensive long-term organic farming research effort that's in play there. If you come back in 5 years, all of this area here where you're looking across and seeing houses, you'll have much more difficulty doing that because there's a creek that runs over there. It's Clark Creek. It's a salmon-bearing creek. And over the next 5 years, we'll be doing a major salmon restoration program along that creek in terms of the buffer and creating shading and the things that we know are important for salmon. And possibly over in this area, even some fairly major stream modification to kind of return it back like it was, better areas for the fry to survive and the salmon to rest as they're headed upstream. So this is where the majority of our what we would call land-based research happens here, and then 8 miles directly to the east we have another 160-acre research farm, which has turf grass research, hybrid poplar research, berry breeding work, to name some of the things that are happening there.
Well, thank you, and I would like to thank John Newkirk, and he's the director of the WSU Puyallup Research and Extension Center. And this is Pamela Roberts with 4-H News.